Hey YouTube, it's Dimitri, and today we're going to have an interview with Noel. He has a Bachelor's of Science in Chemical Engineering from the University of Michigan. He has a Master's in Financial Engineering from the University of Michigan. That's kind of his basic educational background. Let's dive on in and hear more about his work experience and kind of his career path thus far.
My education, like you know that part. Then I worked for UBS. I was an FX derivatives trader. I worked 2 years in New York and 1 year in London. And I guess I didn't include what I'm doing now, which I have this startup called TagRank,
Okay.
and I'll tell you a little bit more about what it does in a sec.
So why don't you dive in and tell me a little bit more about like your average day at UBS?
Right. So the schedule is like more or less there. Well, this is the schedule that I wrote when I was in New York because it was, I guess, I don't know. I just thought it would be more pertinent given I think your audience is more US. I woke up at maybe like 5:40. By 6:30 I was at the office. Like waking up, you wake up and pretty much I just got dressed and headed out and I read the news on the way.
Okay.
And check all the levels, check where's dollar yen, where's S&P, where's the 10-year yield. And as you're checking all of the news plus the levels, sometimes you predict how your position got affected. Then you get to the office and you verify how the news affected your positions. Sometimes, even when you're on the when you're on the sell side, you're supposed to be flat, but you can't be flat. So you always have a little bit of a position, a little bit of delta, a little bit of gamma, a little bit of vega. So you just predict how shit went given how you left it.
Yeah. So are you like doing the market making, or are you guys doing like proprietary trading with derivative products? What was your goal?
There's no real proprietary trading anymore at the banks.
Yeah. Okay.
You can't have a flat position, so you still have a position. So you read the overnight emails, which is a lot of fucking emails, like, I don't know, 200 emails. And the shitty thing is they're like really fucking like, there's so much information on those emails that you have to read, and you like pretend to read them in like an hour. Then at like 7 a.m. is when you check in with the brokers. You just say like hi over the hoot. The hoot is like this microphone thing, and you check in with your teammates, usually via chat. And the thing is, given we were in FX, we had teams of, let's say, 3 people covering one book.
Okay.
And well, you would cover multiple books, but it would be like a theme of books. So let's just go over the easy one, the Euro book. So you would have one guy in New York, one guy in Singapore, one guy in London, and the three people would cover the Euro book.
Okay.
So what I mean by checking in with your teammate, it means checking it with a guy in London that covers your book. In my case, in New York, I covered this book called Mocha, which is it has all the currency pairs and metals, precious metals.
Okay.
But it had these structured products, and they were like fairly complex products. But the risk itself was somewhat simple. You would just generally get long vega all the time. You would just have to sell vega. You can interrupt me if I'm.
No, this is good.
Okay. So then there was this morning meeting at 7:15 or something, early morning meeting. And you would go there and like, it would be like a 15 minute meeting to discuss how the news affected like the UBS clients. And like, it was just, that meeting was a little bit of bullshit, but you would just go to it anyway. Mainly because the salespeople didn't really read the news, only the traders did. So the traders would like update the salesmen, but like the salesmen, some of them would actually read the news. So there was sometimes like interesting conversations. Anyway, that would only last like 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay.
And then you would eventually start trading. I think I put it at 7 a.m., but you would really start trading at like 8 a.m.
Okay.
Your teammate in London would have the book. You would both have the book until like 8 a.m., which is when the London guy left. And then you would take it over completely on your own. You would trade until like 5 when you pass it on to Singapore. And there's like a little bit of a dead space between like 4 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay.
So that those 3 hours, like there's very, very, very little going on, no matter what the day of the, no matter what day it is, unless it's like a Wednesday FOMC. There would be a little bit of more of action, but not really.
So basically, you're passing the book like from country to country as the markets are like going, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So we're kind of like security guards, there's always someone on guard.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about like the pros and cons of the job?
The pros is that it's super, super exciting. Like there's never a time when you're sleeping or like falling asleep. Like I was a chemical engineer before, and I definitely like fell asleep at the job by accident like a couple times. Here you're like, even if the markets are calm, there's shit to do. Like you can check your positions, you can read more news, read like forecasts. Even if like stuff isn't moving, you're preparing yourself for the future. You're always like on your toes, which I would say it's also a con. You're always on your toes. But I would say the biggest con would be the pressure with which you live.
Oh, I've heard that a lot about traders. Like everyone always says, like the markets are so intense when you're trading because literally your entire job rides on the positions. Where I think like as a college student, right, we just think like, oh, like it's fun. You just dive in and trade stuff, and like if things blow up, it's probably like a small amount. But definitely more stress in the real world, though, right?
Well, like my daily P&L on like this book I had was $200,000, like up or down.
Okay.
That's like the value of a house,
Yeah.
And you're losing or making this amount of money on any given day, and like on a good day you make or lose $1 million.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is like the big book I had the chance to manage, right? Like not all the books do this. I think the most stress comes because at any point you can make an error that costs you like a couple $1,000s. But like, the cheapest error I had was, I think like $10,000. Like I had one with like $60,000. I didn't make that many errors. I did like two or three. The cheapest one, was like $10,000, and the most expensive one was $55,000. But it was really like a tech error.
Oh, wow.
Like I like used this tool, and like when you did certain clicks on the tool. So what I did, I wanted to flatten out a position.
Okay.
And to do so, you have to do it with like exact currency amounts. And I wanted to buy 100 million yen, which is almost $1 million.
Okay.
And I did this keystrokes that changed my yen to dollars. So I actually bought $100 million.
Okay.
Yeah. But it all had to do with like the keystrokes, and at the end, I didn't see that the tool flipped it for me. And at the end, I ended up buying $100 million. And like a teammate realized that our position was accumulating like a shitload of dollars. And to exit it, I mean, we exited fine. Like, losing $50,000 on $100 million is really not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Because the market wasn't moving. But had the market moved, I would have been like destroyed or made a lot. But anyway, it's an error.
No, I'm with you on that. Yeah. So why don't you dive on in here and tell us a little bit more about like why you chose to leave the trading realm and why you're like jumping into being an entrepreneur now.
I went on this trip to Puerto Rico where I was surfing, and before Puerto Rico, I had been to Brazil and Morocco on like similar trips. And before these trips, I always do my research. How are the waves in X place?
Yeah.
And they all say the same thing. The waves in Puerto Rico are amazing, blah, blah, come. The waves in Morocco are amazing, blah, blah, come. The waves in Brazil are amazing, blah, blah, come. So I went to Puerto Rico. The waves were not amazing. So I was like, dude, this sucks. And I figured that there was too much subjectivity on the internet. Because to the Puerto Rican, maybe the waves are amazing, because the guy hasn't been to Brazil or Morocco. But I've been to Brazil and Morocco. I would like to tell the world that the waves in Puerto Rico suck.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. And then they're like, okay, well, that's just my opinion. And it's just going to be debated with the opinion of the Puerto Rican. So why not say my preference and say Brazil is better than Puerto Rico? Why not make it a better? Why not say a preference of Morocco is better than Brazil and Brazil is better than Puerto Rico? And I concluded that that's just a ranking.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, let's just rank all the surf spots. And I was like, dude, the market's tiny. So I was like, okay, let's just rank anything. So today, TagRank ranks anything on Wikipedia.
Okay.
And we do so via hashtags. Instead of best university, it's hashtag best university, and you rank 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
And what we're doing is we're combining reviews and rankings. Why? Because reviews, they have the issue where everything has 4.6 stars. I don't know if you've noticed, but like to me, every Uber, every Airbnb, everything has 4.6 stars. So the star world has an issue, a problem that we can solve with rankings. And we're combining them to provide reviews via rankings. So what TagRank does is it tells you a position on a rank via a percentile. So you can say hashtag best university. If Michigan has 80%, that means it beats 80% of the universities on that ranking. And you can do whatever hashtag you want. You can do hashtag welcome week, hashtag athletes, most funniest athletes. Whatever hashtag you want, you can start a ranking and contribute.
Okay, that's cool.
And so I thought of this idea when I was in Puerto Rico, and I worked for UBS for another 4 months. And pretty much all I thought about, even with like the giant screens, like numbers jumping up and down, all I thought about was like the endless possibilities of TagRank. And I decided if I don't take this risk now, that I'm like in my 20s and single, and all I have to lose is money, I'll never do it. So I just decided to take the risk. And yeah, it's a little bit of a career suicide. I don't think I can return to trading, at least to the position where I was before. But I think there are similar positions that I can go to. Like FX derivatives was very, 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 very niche.
Yeah, I gotcha. So you still feel like you could go back if like this blows up and you have no other opportunities, you'd still have other options like in the finance realm.
Yes. I think, well, the startup TagRank, I'm coding pretty much every day.
So which language are you using?
Right now, Ruby on the back end and TypeScript on the front. TypeScript is like another version of JavaScript.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And yeah, I think right now, if like TagRank fails, what I would do is maybe join a fintech startup on like a more interesting one, not Venmo.
Yeah.
Maybe like eToro.
Okay. So what advice would you give current grad students looking to get into either quantitative finance or being an entrepreneur?
Well, for finance, I would say be perfect. The finance world expects perfection. You can never be, errors are just not tolerated at all. Everything from being on time, from knowing your position, knowing what the news are, you always, in a way, you're always a step behind.
Okay.
Because something's always happening in the world, and you can't know everything. So, but you're expected to know everything. You're expected to know everything. You're expected to just be perfect.